Hey guys, this is Rhys Trenhaile from the Vanguard Team at Manor Realty. With me is one of our sales commandos, Jason Balsdon from the team. Jason, thanks for joining us, man.
Hey, no problem, Rhys. Always a pleasure.
Guys, you might have seen Jason's other case study where he's showing sort of the skill level of himself and his teammates as far as how to properly market and properly work with other real estate agents so that you're winning the property, especially when there's multiple offers, right? So those are some great stories. If you haven't watched that one yet, it precedes this one. So find it on our YouTube channel. And as always, link and subscribe below and comment. We always like getting challenged on this stuff. You guys don't know what you're talking about. All right. Yeah, let us know. We'll talk to you about it. Jason, thanks for joining us, man. I think you've got a presentation for us, and we're going to focus on a couple of income property sales that you've done. These are case studies, guys. So we're going to be Grandpa Rhys and Grandpa Jason. Gather around, kids. We're going to tell you a story.
Yeah, a couple of listings and how they're different when you're doing income properties, that kind of thing.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's do it. Let's see if Jason's technically sound, because real estate agents aren't normally.
Well, there you go.
Oh, I stand corrected. He was pretty quick. He was pretty quick. Okay.
So I just want to talk about a couple of different listings that I had and how selling an income property can, even though they're residential properties, they can have a little bit of challenges that you don't have with somebody selling their own personal home.
Oh, man, to put it politely, it's a totally different kettle of fish. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, even though the properties can be side by side, one that's for investment rental purposes is going to have a whole different strategy than somebody that's owned by a homeowner just selling their own personal home.
Yeah, yeah. All right, let's hear about it, man. Yeah.
Yeah, first one, we had a small property on the west end here in Windsor, had a tenant in it. So challenges being you're working with a tenant schedule,
Yeah.
right? You're relying on the tenant to keep that property in the fashion that you want it to be shown in. So some of the things here that can really help is you have to build some rapport with that tenant. Sometimes you're, treading around with pillow hands, trying to get that relationship built, because in the end, if you can get the client to see things your way and allow you more time for viewings and showings, and keep that property in the state that will show the best for the owners, then it's to your advantage. Oftentimes you hear horror stories, and sometimes they're unavoided. You get into this situation with certain tenants and butt heads with the agent. That's something that, whenever possible, you always want to try and avoid.
Yeah.
So there's one listing. I had actually a very good tenant. I lucked out. We built some rapport early on. She was very accommodating for the showings for the most part. I mean, I lost my first weekend showing that would have been really nice to be available because she had something going on. But regardless, we were able to get through that. The property was kept clean. And I got to believe, because I gave her a little bit up front, she needed that one Sunday off that would have been great for showings, that she made it a little bit easier for me with keeping things tidy. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But it's like any relationship. You've got to start somewhere. You've got to build some trust and work together, essentially.
Yeah, this stuff is screwed up all the time, guys, where the number of real estate agents that get into unnecessary wars with the tenant. You got to remember, it's not the landlord's home. It's the landlord's property. It's the tenant's home. You're going into the tenant's home. If you don't respect that it's the tenant's home, then you are going to not be respected by the tenant. And as soon as it's inconvenient, the ability to sell a property quickly and to sell it for top dollar decreases substantially. We like saying to clients that are looking for sort of convenience, speed of sale, and top price. We always say, look, I don't care if Jesus is a real estate agent, he can only provide two of those three, right? So if your tenant isn't being convenient, you're going to lose either the speed, it's going to take us longer to sell the property, or we're going to sell it for a smaller amount of money to speed up the sale price or the sales process. You're not going to get top sales price and a speedy sale anymore, right? So what Jason's saying, it might sound like not a big deal. Oh, you got to get along with the tenant, whatever. I'm just going to railroad that sucker and get it sold. It doesn't work like that, because convenience is one of the three sort of factors that goes into a listing.
Yeah, and there is a little bit more follow through on a sale when you have a tenant. You have to make sure that the tenant is out so that it closes on time. The new owners can take possession. Some things with the Landlord Tenant Act, form wise, will help you with that. And 11 and 12. If you're not familiar with those, on the Landlord Tenant Act website, they have lots of information that you can read. Just basically a document signing saying you both agree what time the tenancy ends, so that it's in writing. If there's anything in question, or if a tenant doesn't leave on the time that they're supposed to or agreed to, then at least you have documentation to support yourself that way. Um, this particular property, everything went smooth. We didn't show the best, and it wasn't the tenant's fault. I can't say that. It was the layout of the property, but we were still able to get, I think it was almost 60,000 more than the property about a block down the street that sold about 2 to 3 weeks previous. And again, it was marketing, bringing in the right buyers, um, and qualifying everybody that went through and put an offer in, making sure that they could actually, they've got their pre-inspection, or not pre-inspection, sorry, they've got their pre-approvals. These are qualified buyers. We're not wasting anybody's time. Yeah, and we were able to put together a clean close. Um, New investor actually brought it, and I believe he's already got tenants in, and that just closed about 3 weeks ago. So the last one that I wanted to talk about was property that is essentially, to my sellers, was just a residential home. But the way that it was designed, it had the catchphrase ADU, additional dwelling unit. So it had a built-in mother-in-law suite, full kitchen, bathroom, the whole nine. Only a single bedroom, but with plenty of room to put another one down there. So that appeals to an investor much differently than it would to a residential buyer.
Okay, so
So
this is a house. Okay, so this second one is a house. It's in like suburbia. Homeowners. It's not an income property when you're selling it.
no, no,
And but you've recognized that the basement ceilings are high enough, and that there's like a side door, so the basement could easily be one of these modern sort of additional dwelling units that a lot of people are putting into homes right now to create essentially
yeah,
like a pseudo duplex.
yeah. This one was actually finished. It just wasn't. They weren't using it as an income property. They were using it for their adult child, who hadn't moved out of the home yet, was living there. So had their own apartment and the rest of it. They didn't see it as an income generating source because that's
Right.
not how they were using it,
Of
but
course.
other buyers did.
So
So,
what happened then? Because if I remember these people, they wanted like top, like not even top dollar, just they wanted way more than what the market would bear for their house normally.
well, to be honest, nothing had sold over 500,000 in the few months previous to that. The agent representing the buyer had sold the highest one that had sold in that area. I think it was 489. So it was adamant her buyer was not paying in the 500s. But what she didn't realize was her buyer came through the open house, didn't divulge that they were represented, because I don't believe they were signed on at that time. Got a
Right.
little bit of information about how it could be used as an income property, went through a couple of visitations and really put together how they could run the numbers on it. So it made sense in a different way as an investor to them than the pitch from the agent who was representing them. So I knew that the numbers would justify well into the 500s.
Right.
So we were
Right.
able to negotiate with that agent, even though you're adamant about the fact it shouldn't sell over that because nothing else had. It had the potential to support it, and we were able to get 510 for that property.
So the average part-time agent was looking at it as a house, and they were comparing
Right,
it to other houses in the neighborhood,
right,
whereas you
right,
knew the buyer was thinking about it as an income property, and therefore it has a different value because of the two
right.
rental units.
Yeah, it was never going to get over 500,000 at that particular time in the market if we didn't have something to justify it, and we did
Cash flow.
because of the rents in this area
Yeah.
being so strong.
Yeah.
We were easily able to justify it, and to be honest, it justified beyond what we got. But I mean, there's give and take in the market, right?
Yeah, but so that's a win-win because the homeowners are getting the house sold for what, 50 grand, 10% more than anybody else in the neighborhood.
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
And at the same time, the buyers are winning because they can cash flow that house extremely well.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, guys, that's creating a win-win situation, understanding sort of that these aren't always house sales. Sometimes you got to look at them as income generating and find the right client accordingly. If I remember, Jason, we identified early on that we weren't going to sell this house as a house. Like we just that they were asking, they wanted too much money.
Right.
But we did recognize, hey, there are two rentable units here. It's easily separated.
Right.
And there's enough cash flow coming in that we can justify the price that they want as an income property.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's what we nailed down. Buddy, I appreciate you joining us. We're at 11 minutes. We're going to call it. I am Rhys Trenhaile from the Vanguard Team. He is Jason Balsdon with the Vanguard Team. If you want to reach out to Jason, I think if you watched the last couple of videos of his case studies, the guy really knows what he's doing. If you want to watch more of our videos, link and subscribe below. Our Facebook investment group is also below as well. And reach out to us if you want first access to our exclusive listings, because you can only do that if you're working with us and you're on our email list. Guys, thanks for joining us. Jason, thanks for joining us, buddy.
Thanks again, Rhys.
All right, man.
Take care.